The 2023 NFL Draft was wild. So much fun. I love draft season, but I especially love diving into the rookie class from a fantasy football lens. So today I'm discussing a few of the landing spots I find most intriguing, good or bad, and where I see their fantasy value going from here. If you want to see my full Dynasty rankings and my rookie rankings, you can at yardsperfantasy.com. And while you're there, sign up to receive our free rookie guide. And if you're just as excited about drafting these rookies as I am, you can draft them right now in Underdog Fantasy. Get your hands on some of these rookies today in Underdog's Best Ball Mania 4 tournament, and you'll have a shot at the $15 million in prizes. It gets better. Sign up Underdog Fantasy using promo code YARDSPER, and they're going to match your first deposit up to $100. I'll see you in the draft room. We all knew going into the NFL draft that Jaxon Smith-Njigba was the best wide receiver in the 2023 class. The Seahawks agreed, and they made him the first wide receiver off the board. The pick makes a ton of sense for Seattle. If they're going to build around Geno Smith, even for the short term, they might as well set him up for success. Adding another weapon like Jaxon surely helps that cause. Jaxon Smith-Njigba joins a talented receiving core that already includes DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Metcalf's going to continue to be the outside X receiver, while Tyler Lockett is the versatile inside-outside playmaker who can threaten defenses deep and after the catch. Where Jaxon Smith-Njigba fits in is going to be a mix of slot and flanker. He'll man the middle of the field, operating mostly in the short and intermediate areas. It's difficult to project a huge target share for his rookie season, given the two veteran studs that are already there and the run-friendly nature of the Seattle offense. But the long-term outlook for JSN is excellent. This is the team that routinely targets their top two wide receivers at a high volume. Eventually, the path will clear for him to take full advantage. Tyler Lockett may not be there in 2024. Jaxon Smith-Njigba is going to develop into a Keenan Allen, Amon-Ra St. Brown kind of like target magnet style of player. He's our rookie wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 15 in the Dynasty rankings. Zay Flowers was the second wide receiver off the board on draft night. On the day the Ravens finally paid Lamar Jackson, they also gave him a new playmaker. Jackson's getting a versatile weapon who can play both outside and in the slot despite his undersized frame. Flowers will be the chess piece that this offense has been in need of for a long time. The Ravens are now teed up with a wide receiver room of Odell Beckham Jr., Rashad Bateman, and Zay Flowers, not to mention one of the league's best tight ends. While that's exciting if you're a fan of the team, it could mean we do have to be a little bit patient with Zay Flowers early in his career. He will certainly be behind Mark Andrews in targets and will have to compete with both Bateman and OBJ for next in line. Now, the good news is everything the Ravens have done this offseason indicates they are moving away from that old run-first conservative approach on offense. They brought in a new, more modern-minded offensive coordinator and have now added 2 stud pass catchers on top of locking in their quarterback for the next 5 years. So while the target competition will be fierce, there will be more passes to go around. That opens the door for Zay Flowers to have an Elijah Moore-like rookie season. He's our rookie wide receiver 3 and the wide receiver 27 in our Dynasty rankings. There was some talk early in the process that Jordan Addison could be the first wide receiver drafted. But after a disappointing NFL combine and weighing in at just 173 pounds, Jordan Addison winds up as the number 4 receiver off the board. However, the consolation prize of landing in the Minnesota offense is quite exciting. Sure, he'll never be the alpha in that offense, but Jordan Addison was never going to be that guy no matter where he went. Instead, he's the perfect second option, opposite a stud like Justin Jefferson. One of the things we love about this Minnesota Vikings offense from a fantasy football standpoint is that the target shares are routinely consolidated and predictable. It's Justin Jefferson, it's Jordan Addison, and it's TJ Hawkinson. That's it. And for that reason, Jordan Addison could have the biggest impact as a rookie among all the first-round wide receivers. He's our rookie wide receiver 2, and he's the wide receiver 21 in our Dynasty rankings. The Seahawks baffled us all when they selected Zach Charbonnet in the second round just 1 year after doing the same damn thing with Kenneth Walker. It's maddening to see both Walker and Zach Charbonnet's dynasty values take a massive hit in one swing. We can expect a split backfield, but it's impossible to predict how much work goes to each of these running backs. Walker will get the majority of the touches, but will it be a 65-45 split or something closer to a 50-50? We can predict that Zach Charbonnet will get more of the receiving work based on their respective resumes, but even that is far from a lock. It's possible that we see Zach Charbonnet with more of the goal line touches, considering he's the better short yardage guy, while Kenneth Walker is more of that breakaway home run threat. But again, we really don't know. My prediction is that this is something of a 60-40 split between the 20s, with Zach Charbonnet getting a slight edge in receiving and short yardage work, also known as a complete headache for fantasy football. I'm still drafting Zach Charbonnet in the first round of rookie drafts, but it's closer to the back half as opposed to where we had him before the NFL draft. Thanks, Pete. Thanks a lot, Pete. Charbonnet is still our rookie running back 3 and the RB25 in our Dynasty rankings. Roschon Johnson didn't get the day 2 draft capital that we were hoping for, but it wasn't long into round 4 that he was drafted by the Bears. While it was a little bit later than we wanted, we couldn't have asked for a better landing spot. The Bears lost David Montgomery to the Lions in free agency and only replaced him with D'Onta Foreman. Of course, Khalil Herbert is still there, and he's done well when given opportunities over his first 2 seasons, but Herbert and Foreman are hardly locked into a particular spot on the depth chart. That opens the door for Roschon Johnson to not only carve out a role, but to force the Bears into giving him the most touches of their running backs. Johnson surely has the skill set to become that guy. He's a big-bodied back with good athleticism and efficiency between the tackles. The reality is that could also describe Herbert and D'Onta Foreman. These are 3 similarly built and similarly talented runners. Where Johnson gets the edge, though, is in the receiving game. That could be what gets him on the field early and become the guy that we want for fantasy purposes out of the Bears backfield. Johnson's our rookie RB5 and the RB28 in our Dynasty rankings. Chase Brown was a yards per fantasy favorite heading into the NFL draft. He didn't quite get the draft capital that we had hoped for, but the landing spots of the Bengals in round 5 is chef's kiss. We had the Bengals circled as an ideal place for any of these rookie running backs. Joe Mixon is coming off one of his least efficient seasons in the NFL, and there's been talk for months that the team could release him altogether. While that doesn't seem likely at this point, Mixon has dealt with multiple off-the-field issues since the end of the 2022 season, which only complicates his status further. With Samaje Perine out the door and neither Travion Williams nor Chris Evans proving to be anything but a jag, the opportunity is ripe for Chase Brown to make a major impact in year 1. Brown proved at Syracuse that he can handle a heavy workload if called upon, and he has the receiving chops to make a difference on third downs as well. Even with Mixon still in the picture, we can see a path to fantasy football relevance for Chase Brown as the change of pace and third down back and one of the league's best offenses. Brown is a major riser post-NFL draft. He's our rookie RB9 and the RB45 in our Dynasty rankings.